Okay. And on a more serious note, do you want to know what happened? Okay. Let's start with some key pieces of evidence. Let's look at what about chapter 22. This is Luke, chapter 22, verse 14. We'll start from there. Exhibit A. When the time came, he took his place at the table, and the apostles with him, and he said to them, "How I have longed to eat this Passover with you before my death. For I tell you, never again shall I eat it until the time when it finds its fulfillment in the kingdom of heaven." Then he took a cup, and after giving thanks, he said, "Take this and share it among yourselves. For I tell you, from this moment I shall drink from the fruit of the vine no more until the time when the kingdom of God comes." And he took bread, gave thanks, and broke it, and he gave it to them with the words, "This is my body. But mark this, my betrayer is here. His hand with me, with mine, on the table. For the Son of Man is going his appointed way. But alas, for that man by whom he is betrayed." At this, they began to ask among themselves which of them it could possibly be who was to do this thing. Then a jealous dispute broke out. Who among them should rank highest? Exhibit B. Chapter 22, verse 33. Peter. "Lord," he replied, "I am ready to go with you to prison and death." Jesus said, "I tell you, Peter, the cock will not crow tonight until you have 3 times over denied that you know me." Exhibit C. Luke, chapter 23. Verse 44. By now, it was about midday, and a darkness fell over the whole land, which lasted until 3 p.m. The sun's light failed, and the curtain of the temple was torn in 2. Then Jesus gave a loud cry and said, "Father, into thy hands I commit my spirit." And with these words, he died. The centurion saw all of it and gave praise to God. "Beyond all doubt," he said, "this man was innocent." The crowd who had assembled for the spectacle, when they saw what had happened, went home, beating their breasts. He did it to himself. All he was ever trying to teach was that using your voice and your intention with spirit will manifest whatever your attention creates, whatever you predict, whatever you believe will happen. Jesus said that he would die. Jesus said, "This is the way I'm going to die." Jesus said, "Peter, you are going to betray me." Jesus said, "This is the last meal I'm going to have before I die." Jesus said, "Father, why have thou forsaken me?" My Father has abandoned me. I die this day. Christ used his voice to say these words. Is it possible that there could have been something that scared Jesus out of his own faith, such that he would fear the all-powerful love of God, such that he would create a scenario leading to his own death? Allegorically speaking, of course. This is just one of many versions of quantum physics and how all that works. Spirituality. There are a lot of different stories about it. But this one, which a lot of people love where I'm from, has been edited so much. However, this is the living word. What do you make of it? Jesus said, "You shall bear no more fruit." And the fig tree was dead the next time anyone checked on it. He spoke his words in anger because he was hungry and went for food. But he did not believe that there was going to be food because he was in hunger. He was in fear. Hunger is one of many signs of something that we also call fear. It's just another framework of looking at fear. It's an anti-life force. Up to the crucifixion, Christ was not acting in love anymore. At least externally, according to these Bibles. But Aphrodite never died. And she's the same thing as Jesus. Love bursting forth from the ocean. Emotion bursting forth from an oyster shell, from darkness. Somehow light is cultivated. So, it's worth looking at some other versions that might give us another lesson about the same similar scenario. And no knock on Jesus. Not really, anyway. I think we can forgive him.